The day they told Zara her life had already been decided, she was eating jollof rice and laughing at a video on her phone. That was the last time she laughed for a very long time. But before I continue, please subscribe, like and share. It is a way of encouraging me. Zara Okafor was 22 years old. She lived in a busy flat in Yaba, Lagos, with her parents, her younger brother Tunde, and a grandmother everyone called Mama Kyoma, who had strong opinions about everything and kept a wooden cane she used for emphasis rather than walking. Zara worked part-time at a printing shop on Herbert Macaulay Street, designed graphics on her laptop at night, and had just been shortlisted for a scholarship at a design school in Abuja. Her life was not perfect. The flat was small, the generator was unreliable, and her father spent more time worrying than speaking. But it was her life. She had built the small pieces of it herself, one early morning at a time. Then on a Tuesday in March, her uncle arrived. Uncle Bartholomew, nobody called him that, they called him Uncle Bart, was her father's older brother. He was a large man who filled every room he entered, not just with his body but with his presence. He wore expensive agbada even on casual visits, drove a black SUV with tinted windows, and spoke in the slow, deliberate way of a man who had never once been interrupted. He was rich in the way that made other people feel guilty for not being rich. And in the Okafor family, what Uncle Bart said carried the weight of law. He arrived without calling. That should have been the first sign. Zara's mother, Mama Zara, rushed to the kitchen the moment she heard his car horn. Her father straightened his shirt 3 times. Even Mama Kyoma, who feared nothing on earth, sat up slightly straighter in her chair. Tunde disappeared into his room. He was 16 and had already learned that when Uncle Bart visited unannounced, the best place to be was anywhere else. Zara was the only one who stayed seated, finishing her rice, scrolling her phone. She was not being rude. She simply did not know what was coming. Uncle Bart settled into the best chair in the sitting room. He always chose the best chair, accepted a cold drink from Mama Zara, and spent exactly 4 minutes talking about traffic and his new generator before he got to the real reason he had come. "I have good news," he announced. He said it the way people announce the end of a war. Zara's father, Papa Okafor, a quiet man with kind eyes who had spent 30 years being smaller than his brother, leaned forward slightly. "Chief Adeyemi has asked for Zara," Uncle Bart said simply. 3 seconds of silence. Then the room cracked open. Mama Zara let out a sound that was half gasp, half joy. Mama Kyoma's cane hit the floor once, sharply, approval. Papa Okafor's face did something complicated that Zara could not fully read. Relief and discomfort living in the same expression. Zara put her phone down. "Who is Chief Adeyemi?" Uncle Bart looked at her with the patient expression of someone explaining something to a child. "Chief Adeyemi Bello. He is one of the biggest men in this state. He owns 6 companies. He sits on 3 government boards. He is connected to every person worth knowing in Lagos." He paused for weight. "He is also 54 years old, a widower, and he wants a wife." Zara felt the jollof rice sit differently in her stomach. "And what does that have to do with me?" Uncle Bart smiled. "He saw you at your cousin Adi's wedding last month. He asked about you. He spoke to the family. The conversation has been going on for 3 weeks." He looked at her father when he said this. 3 weeks. Behind Zara's back. "He is prepared to pay bride price immediately," Uncle Bart continued. "He will settle your father's remaining rent. He will pay off the loan on the car. He will give this family a fresh beginning." He spread his hands as if presenting a gift. "This is a blessing, Zara. This is God answering this family's prayers." Zara looked at her father. "Papa, did you know about this?" Papa Okafor did not meet her eyes immediately. That 1 second of delay told her everything. "We were waiting for the right time to tell you," he said carefully. "The right time," Zara repeated. "Nobody is forcing you," Mama Zara said quickly, sensing the temperature in the room rising. "We are just asking you to consider." "He is 54 years old," Zara said. 54 is not dead," Mama Kyoma said from her corner. "He is 32 years older than me." "Age is wisdom," Uncle Bart said smoothly. "A young woman with an older, settled man, that is security. That is protection. Your generation thinks love is everything. Love does not pay school fees. Zara stood up from her chair. Not dramatically. Just stood up, because she felt like the chair was no longer hers. I am not marrying Chief Adeyemi, she said. The room went so quiet that the generator hum outside became the loudest thing in the flat. Uncle Bart's expression shifted. Just slightly. The patient smile developed an edge. Zara, he said, think about what you are saying. I have thought about it. You thought about it in 30 seconds. You thought about it for 3 weeks without telling me. I think 30 seconds is fair. Papa Okafor stood up now too, distressed. Zara, please. Papa, I love you. But nobody asked me. She looked around the room. At her mother's anxious face. At Uncle Bart's hardening expression. At Mama Kyoma's unreadable eyes. Nobody sat down with me and said, Zara, this man is interested. What do you think? Nobody. You had conversations with each other about my life, and then Uncle Bart came here today to announce to me what had already been decided. Her voice was steady. Not angry. Just clear. That is not how my life works. Uncle Bart put down his drink slowly. When a man like him put something down slowly, it meant the conversation had changed registers. Your father has debts, he said. Still calm, but the warmth was gone now. Your family is struggling. This man is offering a way out for everyone. And you are standing here talking about what you want. He shook his head. In this family, in this culture, the community comes before the individual. That is how we have always survived. Zara looked at him. Then the community should marry Chief Adeyemi. Mama Zara made a sound of pure alarm. Mama Kyoma's cane hit the floor again. Tunde, eavesdropping from the hallway, pressed himself flatter against the wall. Uncle Bart stood up. He was very tall when he stood. I will give you 1 week, he said, buttoning his agbada with deliberate calm. 1 week to think properly. Because what you are doing right now is not courage. It is foolishness. And foolishness has consequences. He left without finishing his drink. The sound of his SUV reversing out of the compound felt like a full stop at the end of a sentence that had not finished being written. The week that followed was the longest of Zara's life. Her mother cried twice, not loudly, but the quiet kind of crying that was somehow worse. Her father moved through the flat like a man underwater, slow and pressured, unable to look at her directly. Relatives began appearing, aunties she hadn't seen in years, cousins who called on the phone with just to check how you are doing that were clearly reconnaissance missions. The family network had activated. Word had spread. And the consensus was unanimous. Zara was being difficult. Only 2 people sat solidly in her corner. The first was Tunde. Her brother was 16, gap-toothed, and had strong opinions about everything from Premier League to the price of data bundles. He found her on the balcony the night after Uncle Bart's visit, sat beside her in the dark, and said, "You are not going to change your mind, are you?" "No," she said. "Good," he said. Then he stayed with her on the balcony for an hour without saying another word, which was the most comforting thing anyone had done all week. The second person was Kike. Kike Adeli was Zara's closest friend. They had met at a graphics workshop 3 years ago and become the kind of friends who could communicate entire sentences with a single look. Kike was sharp, blunt, and allergic to anything that wasted her time. When Zara called and told her everything, Kike's response was immediate. "What is his name again?" "Chief what?" "Adeyemi." "I'm already Googling him." A pause. "Zara. This man is 54. "I know. He looks like somebody's retired chairman of a motor park." Despite everything, Zara laughed. It was a short laugh, but real. "You are not marrying him," Kike said. "End of story." "My family. Your family is not the one who will wake up beside him every morning." "Kike, you know it is not that simple. My father has real debts. My uncle controls a lot of things in this family. If I refuse, there could be consequences." "There are consequences for agreeing too," Kike said. "You just won't feel them until it is too late." Zara was quiet for a moment. "Uncle Bart said if I refuse after the week, He will go to the elder members of our extended family and call a full meeting. He said a decision like this affects the whole family name. Kike was silent for 2 full seconds. Then she said, "Then we need to prepare you for that meeting." What Kike meant by preparation was not what Zara expected. 3 days later, Kike arrived at the flat with a notebook, a laptop, and a friend named David, a thin, serious young man who wore round glasses and worked as a paralegal at a law firm on Lagos Island. Kike introduced him as someone who knows things. They sat in Zara's room with the door closed while Mama Zara moved anxiously between the kitchen and the corridor outside. "The family can pressure you," David said, pushing his glasses up. "They can make your life uncomfortable. They can withdraw financial support. But they cannot legally force you to marry anyone." He looked at Zara directly. "In Nigeria, the Marriage Act requires your consent. Your full, willing consent. No consent, no legal marriage. The law is on your side." "This is not about law," Zara said. "This is about family. About culture. About shame," Kike said flatly. Zara nodded. "Yes. If I refuse at the family meeting, my father will be humiliated. Uncle Bart will make him pay for my refusal in 100 small ways for the next 20 years. My mother will carry the whispers of every auntie who thinks she raised a stubborn daughter." David leaned back. "So the question is not whether you have the right to say no. You do. The question is whether you can say no and still protect your family from the fallout. Is that even possible?" Zara asked. David and Kike exchanged a look. "Maybe," Kike said slowly. "But first we need to know more about Chief Adeyemi." What David found in the next 48 hours made Zara's skin go cold. Chief Adeyemi had been married twice before his wife died. His first wife, the one before his late wife, had left quietly after 3 years. No public drama. No explanation that anyone knew. She had simply disappeared from his life the way water disappears from a glass you forget on a hot afternoon. Nobody seemed to know where she was. Nobody seemed to have asked. His second wife, the one who died, had passed away under circumstances the newspapers described only as brief illness. His obituary for her had been 2 paragraphs. More troubling, Chief Adeyemi had a reputation in certain business circles for completing deals that other people didn't fully understand until it was too late. His companies had received government contracts in 3 separate states. He had lawyers on retainer that other lawyers were afraid of. He was not simply a rich man. He was a powerful man, and the difference between those 2 things was the difference between a storm you could shelter from and a flood that swallowed the whole street. "Your uncle knows all of this," Kike said quietly, reading over David's shoulder. "Of course he does," David said. "That's why he brought the offer. This isn't just about money for the family. Your uncle is going to get something out of this connection too." He looked at Zara. "This is a business arrangement. You are the asset being transferred." Zara sat very still. She had known something was wrong. She had felt it in the way Uncle Bart talked about Chief Adeyemi, not with the warmth of someone introducing a good man, but with the precision of someone presenting a contract. "There is one more thing," David said, pulling up another page on his laptop. He turned the screen toward Zara. She read it. Then she read it again. Chief Adeyemi's first wife, the one who had disappeared quietly, had a sister. The sister had given a single interview to a small online publication 7 years ago. The article was obscure, buried, the kind of thing the internet kept alive but nobody ever found. In that interview, the sister said 3 sentences that David had highlighted in yellow. "My sister did not leave willingly. She was afraid and she had nobody to speak for her. I am speaking now because she still cannot." Zara closed the laptop. "I need to find that woman," she said. Her name was Sandra. She lived in Bagada. She agreed to meet only after Kike called her 4 times and David wrote her a careful message explaining exactly who Zara was and why she was asking. They met at a small restaurant near the Bagada Express, a Tuesday afternoon. Sandra was 41, well-dressed, and had the face of someone who had practiced calm for so long it had become her natural expression. She sat across from Zara and looked at her for a long time before speaking. "How old are you?" Sandra asked. 22. Sandra nodded slowly. My sister was 23. Zara waited. She married him because our family pressured her, Sandra said. The same things they told you. Security. Stability. Blessing. He was not as powerful then, but he was already connected. Our father had debts. She paused. He was not physically violent. I want to be clear about that. But there are many ways to make someone's life very small without ever lifting a hand. She looked at her cup. He controlled everything. Who she saw, where she went, what she wore. He had a way of making you feel like your thoughts were wrong, your instincts were wrong, your feelings were wrong. By the second year, my sister barely recognized herself. The restaurant noise continued around them, ordinary and indifferent. How did she get out? Zara asked. Slowly, Sandra said. Quietly. With help from a few people who believed her when the rest of the family called her ungrateful. She looked at Zara again. I am telling you this because I wish someone had told her before she walked in. Zara walked back to the car with Kike in silence. They drove for 15 minutes before either of them spoke. The family meeting is in 2 days, Kike finally said. I know. What are you going to do? Zara looked out the window at Lagos moving past, the yellow buses, the hawkers, the children on bridges, the enormous ordinary chaos of a city that never stopped. She thought about her father's face. Her mother's quiet tears. She thought about Sandra's sister, 23 years old and slowly becoming unrecognizable to herself. I'm going to tell the truth, she said. 1.